Okay. All right, as always, let's just take a moment to find the Pilates posture with our feet parallel, whether that's touching or hip distance apart, whichever's more comfortable for you. Abs are in, tailbone is long, fingers to your rib cage, nice deep breath in. Exhale, pull them down, knit them together. Feel that strength in your core as your ribs cascade down and stay pulled together. Shoulders are going to roll up, back, and down a couple times. And then let's squeeze them up and let's give ourselves a little neck massage by rocking the ear over to the shoulder, pressing up, tuck that chin a little bit, and then bring that up, back, and down. Fingertips to the edges of your skull. As you open, notice that your ribs are going to want to pop. So I want you to pull the ribs down, and we're just going to nod the head yes and lengthen out the back of the neck. Keeping a little bit of pressure on the back of the neck, let's go ahead and push up against those hands. That should stretch out that neck, but also open up that chest. And then we're going to just roll one more time. We're going to come back to the backs of our mats. Legs are probably mat width apart. Let's come down into a nice little squatty position. Roll into your cat and inhale into your leprechaun. And then just roll through, tucking and tipping a couple times. You can isolate just the hips if you want. You could isolate your belly button area, maybe the rib cage or the head, or you can put it all together. And slow it down when you get to a part where you feel as if maybe vertebrae aren't moving as independently as you would want them to. All right. And then let's stay in that leprechaun position, AKA cow. Check on your tailbone, make sure it's not tucked under, maybe even, put your hand back there to see if you can feel that it's lifted up. Bring your hands to those low abs, let's pull those in. Let's pull the ribs in, make sure you have a nice bend in your knees. Head in line, tuck and lift, and then tuck so the back of the neck is long. Really pay attention to that space at the bottom of your neck, that it's not rounded. And then thumbs are gonna go up and we're gonna lift out to the side for 4, 3, 2, and last one. And we're gonna bring our arms straight down. We're gonna bend our elbows to the sky. All this time, keeping the abs in, the tailbone long, head in line with your spine. If you start to feel this too much in your low back, give it a little bit more of a lift and go on an angle. And then from there, this one, you're gonna kind of end up moving your weight into your booty. You're gonna lift your arms up into a V and back down. Up into a V and back down. One more time, up into a V and back down. We're gonna roll through cat again. We're gonna inhale through cow. We're gonna stay here, abs in. And we're gonna go back to thumbs to the side for 4. Last 2. Last 1, hands down, row it up for last 2. And last 1, and in that Y position or that V position. Beautiful. Stand it up. And then we're going to bend the knees one more time, but we're coming all the way down this time. We're going to walk it out, slide it forward. You're going to bring your knees down. We're going to press back, little stretch here for a quick moment. And then come on up. We're going to roll through that cat, open up through that leprechaun. Right, and then we're going to go ahead and slide back so that we're on our abs, arms out to the side, thumbs up, similar to what we just did. We're going to lift those thumbs, chest is up just the tiniest bit. Good, and now hands down as if you're going to do a push-up, but you're actually not. You're just going to hover your hands and lift 1 inch for 4, 3, abs in, 2, and 1. And then arms out in that V, pull your belly button in to protect the low back, back of the neck is long, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then we're going to come up onto all 4s and one more round and extend. And that should have opened up that upper back just a little bit. So we've got good posture focus going on. We're going to come up onto the fronts of our thighs. And we're in a plank. So make sure that you didn't leave your tailbone out and make sure you didn't sag your belly, right? So we're doing the pleasant version of Pilates push-ups from the fronts of the thighs, all 10 toes pointed straight up in the air. Check out that those ribs are in and that tailbone is under. Your thumbs are close together so that as you bend your elbows, you can press them backwards, keep your head in line with your spine, straighten your arms. So I really want you to focus on keeping the abs in and moving up and down as a unit. So you don't let those hips go ahead, right, like that. You don't let them stay behind. Try to move from head to tailbone in a straight line. Last two, last one. Walk your right hand forward, turn your left palm to the sky and slide it under and stretch it out. So shoulder stretch, kind of a passive tricep stretch. While you're over there, bend that left arm, touch it up towards your right armpit, a little bit of tricep there, and then press it up, come back to center, take your right hand underneath that left one, stretch out that shoulder, drop the shoulder down, left arm goes forward. You can bend that right elbow. And then coming back up through center. This time we're going to walk our hands forward. We're going to inhale forward and roll back. Again, mobilizing through that whole spine. Beautiful. And this time we're dropping down to our elbows. We're lifting up through that chest, little upper back stretch, all 10 toes on the ground. And now I want you to press that chest away and roll up in what we call that pre-plank, right? So chest is pulled away, abs are pulled away, hips are lifted. And then I'd like to challenge you, and you may want to widen your feet. So my toes and my knees are on the ground and my elbows and forearms, and that's it, right? Everything else is off the ground in a straight line. You should feel that plank. Really feel those abs working. And then see if you can straighten the left arm and bring it down without tipping to the right. And then do the same to the right. And just try that a few times. Now, there's a way to, I don't want to say cheat, but for your body to, be able to do this better. And that's wider feet, more narrow arms. But I want you to focus on not tipping, right? So do your best. And then once again, we're going to press back, only this time as we press back, hands go to the right, hips go to the left. And then as you come up, let's come back through center and walk hands left, hips right. All right, and then come on up all to all fours, and we get to turn and face the front. Left knee is bent, right leg is off to the side, and we're usually a little tipped to that left side. So let's lift that left hip up and sit taller. Okay, so moving through all different directions here today. Arms out into a T. You want to move as a unit, not, just your arms moving. You want to tip over, tip over, tip over. Make sure your arms stay in that line. And then this side of your body, work, lift, 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 lift. And then up and over, tap if you want the ground, but don't put any weight on that hand. Two more like that. Keep those low abs pulled in so you're tall. Beautiful. Take a quick break. And then we go to that V. But again, it's not, right? You want to move as a unit in that V to your challenge point and then come up. And to your challenge point and up. Two more. And last time. Beautiful. Take a break. If you want, last option will be hands together over your head, right? And then your head is cradled in between those arms as you go up and over. And relax. Let's switch those legs up. So right leg forward, left leg off to the side. And again, if you're kind of tucked under on that right side, lift up, sit tall, And then arms into that T. We tip over to the side and then back up, nice and slow with control. Beautiful. Then into that V, take a break in the meanwhile if you need. Otherwise, over into that V. Take a break. And then finally, if you want, your hands are together. Very nice. All right. One more seated. We're going to pull our glutes out from under us. We're going to bend that left knee. We're going to hug it in so it's right up next to our chest. We're going to do our best to keep the rib and the thigh connection. This is the easy version, guys. Right leg is extended. We sit tall. We lift that leg off the ground. We point, we flex, we point, we flex. Ooh, keep going. Foot is off the ground, right? Sitting tall. Now point the toe and lift 1 inch and lift. And then flex the foot and lift. And then point the toe, bend it just the tiniest bit, stretch it, stretch it, stretch it, stretch it, stretch it, stretch it, flex it, press, 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 and press. Now we get to stretch that. So kind of the position we were in before, but this time get that right leg behind the hip. Right angle at your knee, right angle at your ankle, drop onto that elbow. You'll notice that hip wants to roll backwards. I want you to roll it forward, right? So try and stack those hips. And then that right arm can come up and over, open to the back, bring it back to center, tuck that hip under. And then lastly, for a deeper stretch, pull the rib down toward the hip and feel that come into that hip flexor. As you come up, leave your left leg where it is, bring that right leg slightly across, but don't sit on your foot, right? So make sure that your hip is down and then just give it a tug across. But we're not here. So you're sitting tall, you're pulling the knee across and the hip stays down. Other side. Okay. Left leg extended. We sit tall on those sit bones, right leg in, lift that leg off the ground and point and flex. Sit tall. Good. Keep the toe pointed and lift. Flex the foot and lift. Point the toe, bend it, stretch. Flex the heel and push. And relax. Ooh, now that stretchy position. So try and get the knee past the hip, roll the hip forward, left arm up, over, around, and behind, and then press that hip forward, and then crunch here, rib and hip together. All right, now we get to lie down, finally, and hug those knees in. And let's take a moment, rock side to side to start with. Then bring those knees together, hands on your shins. Exhale, bend your elbows to bring those knees a little closer. Inhale, move those knees away. So we're going to exhale, pull them in. Inhale, pull them away. One more time, we're going to exhale, pull them in. Inhale, pull them away. And now we're going to bring them in, over to the left, forward, over to the right, and back up and in. So big circle, right? You do what you need to do in terms of where you hold your hands. If you want them behind your hamstrings, that's fine. And let's reverse that circle, please. Nice. And then lastly, we're going to put the feet on the ground, arms into a T, let the knees drop to the left, kind of a gentle twist. Head either in line or looking to the right. Use your left elbow to push back through center, knees drop to the right. And again, nod yes, and either look at the sky or over to the left. Use your right elbow, push everything back through center, and one more twist here. We're going to stack those legs tabletop, let them drop left, bigger twist. And then using the left elbow to push everything back through center, knees drop right. All right, here we go. Hug those knees in for a moment. Bring your left hand to the right knee and your right hand to the right ankle. Lift that left leg up in the air and then lift your right shin so it's parallel. Then we're going to exhale, lift the head up and reach through the left toes. So kind of the stretchy version of single leg stretch. Inhale, switch it up. Bring that left knee in, point through those right toes, and inhale to switch and exhale to reach. So just keep that going here. Almost there. And relax, hug those knees in, bring them to tabletop. On the inhale, open them up, that's double leg stretch. Exhale, head, neck, and shoulders float off the ground. Sorry, slow double leg stretch. Inhale, point your toes. Exhale, flex your heels. Arms are going to reach up by your ears. And then on the inhale, you point your toes and you reach. You might reach just towards your shins. You might come up a little. You might come all the way up, reaching for those toes. And then we exhale and bend. So here we go again, slow double leg stretch. Inhale, knees open. Exhale, head floats off the ground. Inhale, point the toes. Exhale, flex the heels, arms reach overhead. Inhale, point, lift, reach for those toes. Teaser position, exhale down. Inhale, knees open. Exhale, float off the ground. Inhale, point your toes. Exhale, flex your heels, arms reach. Inhale, point, lift, reach. Exhale, bring it down. Inhale, knees open. Exhale to lift. Inhale to point. Exhale to flex and reach. Inhale, point, lift, reach. And exhale, bring it down. Again, here we go. Knees open, inhale. Exhale, lift. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. Inhale, reach. Could you do this on your own? Let's find out. You're doing one more with me to remind yourself. Knees open, inhale, that's 1. 2, head, neck, and shoulders float as you exhale. 3, you point your toes on the inhale. 4, you flex your heels on the exhale. 5, you reach for those toes. Inhale, exhale, bring it down. 4 more on your own. What? It's 6 steps each. So that's 24 times you are moving, right? Just start with that inhale as the knees open and you should be good. So hopefully everybody's at least on their third one-ish by now. And when you finish, go ahead and hug your knees in. Maybe take a little rock side to side if need be. All right, both feet on the ground. We're going to stretch that right leg out. We're going to flex through the heel and we're going to lift it and put it right beside the left knee. Right, so knees are glued together. They're not up and down like that. And then as you're ready, you press into that left hip to lift up into a bridge. Squeeze those glutes. Hands can be down, or for a little more challenge, they can hover. Lower those hips. Deep breath in. Exhale, lift those hips. Hold 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower down. Lift and hold. And lower. Again, lift it. And down. And lift and hold. And down, lift, and down. 2 more, lift, and down. Last time we lift it, we hold, and then right foot comes down and hips come down. rock that side to side for a minute, stretch that left leg out on the ground, flex through the heel, squeeze the knees together, press into the right foot to lift into your bridge, hold here, abs in, arms can hover or not, lower the hips and then lift and hold. And again, lower and lift and hold. And lower. And again, lift. Lower, lift. Lower, lift. Lower, lift, almost there. Last time, lower, lift, hold, 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 squeeze. Left foot down. Bring your hips down. Give those legs a quick little hug. And then feet together, hands wrap through, grab your ankles, create that little diamond shape with your legs, and we're rolling into our seal. When you come to the top, you pause, you flap your flippers together 3 times, and you exhale with control in your seal. Top of the morning, you flap your flippers together, exhale to roll, and roll, All right, next time you come up, hold that seal, bring your hands behind your hamstrings, extend your legs up. Tease your position, but supported, right? But so be really conscious if you're rounding, trying to lift, lift, lift. You can slide your hands as high as you need to get those shoulders to stay nice and sloped back and down. Good. We're going to bend the knees. We're going to put the feet on the ground. We're going to open those arms into that T, and then that V, and then that I. We're going to keep them there. We're going to stretch those legs out. We're going to keep our arms by our ears. So if you see your hands, give yourself a buzz. From there, reach each finger to the sky so you feel yourself lift up out of your hips, and then scoot your tailbone back as you hinge forward. If your hands are in your vision, By the way, you don't get to drop your head so you can't see your hands, right? So head in line with your spine, arms by your ears, reaching from fingertip to hip so it's a long straight line, and then bring that down. Okay, we're going to come over onto our side. We're going to bring our head onto our arm. We're going to do our little clam series here. So knees are stacked, waistline off the ground. We're just going to start with that first one where the knee and the heel come up in the same line. All right, so we're not leading with the heel nor the knee. Good. Now we add on heels together. We pivot open in that kind of more familiar clam. Now we're going to leave the knees down. We're going to tip the heels up, and we'll pivot open at a higher point. Then we're going to stretch the legs long. We're still here, right? We're going to lift that top leg up. We're going to keep that waistline lifted, and we're going to do tiny circles forward, and then tiny circles back. Good. Then we're going to make those circles bigger in the opposite direction. And then we're going to reverse bigger circles. Good. Now we're going to bring the leg ahead of us, point the toe down, tap down, lift it up, heel goes behind. Toe in front, knee or heel behind. Now your body is going to want to do this, so I want you to control it and keep that movement tight and small, toe and heel, but we should still feel this in those rotators. This is our Irish potato exercise, tater exercise, rotators. 2 more, and relax. Give that hip a little love. Hopefully you could feel those. And then we're going to prop up for some side plank work. As always, if you need to support, or excuse me, if you need to, support your elbow with a fold in that mat, feel free to do so. Make sure you're not hinged, right? Your hips are in line with your ankles, which are in line with your shoulders. Push back out of this shoulder, lift up, create space. And then when you're ready, your favorite version of side plank. And we're gonna do some add-ons. So we're gonna lift, we're gonna dip, we're gonna rotate, and then we're gonna see if we could lift the top leg. What? Right? Oops. And then we're gonna do that again. So we're gonna arch, center, dip, lift, rotate, center, top leg up. Sorry, I'm slipping. Keep going, you guys. I'm off my mat. So we come arch, dip, rotate, center, leg up. And one more time, arch it, center, dip it, lift it, rotate, center, leg up, and down. Let's do all that on the other side. So we start with that sideline clam series. Arm is right underneath your ear, waistline is lifted, knees are stacked, hips are stacked, and we begin by lifting that leg as a unit. So knee is in line with your ankle. Good, and then we put the feet together and we pivot open. You can either keep your soles of your feet together, you can do Pilates V, either way. Good, knees down, heels up, pivot from there. Then we straighten out those legs. We make sure that waistline is still lifted. We're gonna lift that top leg and give some little circles. And reverse. And then bigger circles the first direction. And bigger circles the other way. And then we're going to put the toe down in front and the heel behind. And we're going to try and do that without rolling on the hip bone. And relax. Ooh, give that hip some love. As we come up, we're going to fold that mat under if you need it for a little extra support for that elbow for our side plank. And as always, once you come up in your, or before you come up in your side plank, make sure that your shoulder is back, your lats are engaged, a lot of space between the ears and shoulders, nice long straight line in the body. Come on up, and then we'll arch, center, dip, lift, rotate, center, leg up and down. Arch, center, dip, lift, rotate, center, leg up. Again, we arch, center, dip, lift, rotate, center, leg lift, and down. Last time, arch, center, dip, lift, rotate, center, up, down, ooh, bring it down, and we're on to our abs, please. So let your forehead just rest on your hands for a minute. Lift one leg up at a time, stretch them nice and long. I want you to extend your left arm and your right leg, pull your belly button in, and lift your right arm and your left leg and try and see how far away you could get them. So use that right quad, use that left shoulder blade and bring it down. And now let's switch it up. Right arm is going to extend, forehead on the left hand to start with, belly button in, and then lift left leg and right arm. Stretch them as far away as you can get them and bring that down. We're going to do that one more time each side. Left arm, right leg, and down, right arm, left leg, and down. Okay. Hands still underneath your forehead. Stretch both legs so long that they have to lift up off the ground. And then see if you feel pretty even through that. Make sure or try your best to get your thighs off and then relax that down. And now we did this earlier, legs stay on the ground, arms lift up by your ears, out of your peripheral vision, and bring that down. So you know what's coming. We're going to put both arms and both legs together if that works for you. You have lots of options so far, just legs, just arms, one arm, one leg. Otherwise, here we go. Deep breath in, exhale, belly button to the spine, inhale, lift, flying Superman, holding 4, 3, 2, and 1. Exhale down. Again, inhale. Exhale, lift. Inhale, hold. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Exhale down. Here we go again. Lift it up and reach. And down. 2 more like that. And down. Last time. And relax. Let's bend those elbows or knees wide and windshield wiper. Beautiful. As you come up, you're coming back over onto your side. Again, support that elbow if you need to. A little bit different this time. So you're going to bend your knees, but rather than bend them forward, I want you to tuck them back, right? So they're not in front. It's more that the feet are tucked behind you. So it will feel as if you're rotating open, and that's okay to start with. Protect this elbow as always, and then come up in that kind of, I don't want to call it an easy version of side plank because you're going to straighten out that top leg. Get it at hip height and give me circles. Try and lift the bottom foot off the ground and then reverse your circle. And reverse again. And one more reverse. Beautiful. Bring it down, but stay where you are. Now I want you to come up onto that same hand, right? Up you go. So you're still on a diagonal here with your leg. Hand is under your shoulder. We lift it up and we rotate. Circles. And reverse. You should feel this in that top leg. And reverse again. And one more reverse. Woo! As you come down, the leg that's underneath you, I want you to bring it to the front. The leg you just worked, I want you to cross it mid-shin. Okay, so this is what the stretch we did earlier, but we're going to focus on putting your hand in this hip crease and push this hip down, even rotate. So you sit on that hip and then pull the leg across. So you can sit tall, but what I don't want you to do is, lift that hip off the ground. We're trying to pull in opposite directions, right? So as I pull the knee across, I push the hip down, should give you a nice stretch across that hip that we just worked. And then you're going to let that leg drop completely open, figure 4, but we'll sit very tall to get here. And then we'll hinge if you need to. Some of you probably won't even need to. And heck, your foot is right there. Why don't you give it some attention, right? So mobility, stretch out those toes, move that foot, and then sit tall. Okay, going to the other side. Hopefully everybody remembers which side they just worked. If you just switch ends, you should be okay. All right. So we started on the sides of our thighs, again, not in front, but here. And we're trying to get all 10 toes up in the air. So even my bottom leg, the toes are off the ground. Top leg lifts and we circle. Reverse. And reverse again. And reverse again. And bring it down. And now we're going to come up onto that hand. And we're still kind of on the side of the thigh there, right? And then we lift that leg. We're doing our best to get it to hip height and we circle. And reverse. And reverse again. And reverse again. and bring it down. Knee that is bent, go ahead and bring it out in front of you. Other leg, cross it over at your shin, sit tall, put your hand in that hip, push the hip down, and then pull the knee across. And then do both at the same time, sitting tall. So I'm pushing the hip down as I pull that knee across, so I'm getting that cross stretch. And then we'll take that leg and just let that passive figure four happen. If you need to or want to, give it a little hinge, but make sure you didn't drop and round. And then your foot's right there. Give it some attention. Pull those toes, stretch them out. Have your toes started to curl under? Try and straighten them out. And mobilize through there. Beautiful. Then as we sit up, all we're going to do is bend our knees. And we're going to just do some roll downs here. So palms to the sky, exhale, hinge back, pull those ribs down, option for a T or a V or an I. We've been doing them all day. Exhale, lower those hands. Exhale back, inhale, open if you want. Exhale, come up, inhale at the top, prepare, exhale, hinge back, T or V or I, roll it. Always being careful when you come to the top not to round those shoulder blades, sit nice and tall. Make sure when you're moving, your hands are low, right? So hands are low when you move and they're up when you're at the top. Then lower them before you move. There you go. Hold at the back. Do something with your arms if you want. Then lower your hands before you try to come up. And then lift. Nice. All right. Keep going. Couple options here. If you want, you could straighten your right leg out on the ground and see if you can turn this into a roll up. The breathing is the exact same. You want to be really conscientious to keep those hands low. So with one knee bent and one straight, if roll-ups don't always work for you, you can see if they might, right? And if roll-ups do work for you, you can straighten both legs. But you have to promise that your feet are staying on the ground and you're not using any momentum, especially right here, giving me that little shimmy, right? No shoulder shimmies. And then finally, if you did one leg, bend the other knee and try a couple like that. Otherwise, just stay with your roll downs. Roll down is not an easy exercise, especially when you add those arm movements. So do what makes sense. And then I love at the top to sit up in extension rather than hunch forward, right? Because we don't really need practice hunching forward. So squeeze those shoulder blades together at the top and give it a nice extension. And so you have lots of options. You might be doing roll downs. You might be doing a half roll up kind of thing with one leg bent, one straight. And you might be doing a full roll up with both legs straight. All right, if you're doing a roll up, next time you're down, let's stay down. If you were doing roll downs, just roll over to your side and then meet us at the bottom. And then everyone is going to extend those legs straight up, right above, so that your toes are pointed to the sky for some hip lifts. Hands are out to the side, palms down. So our challenge here is not just to bring the feet over the head, but to point them to the sky and try and pause for a second as we inhale, lift, hold, exhale down. 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 Couple more, inhale, lift, hold, exhale down. Two more, lift, hold, exhale down, and lift and relax, hug those knees in. We're gonna add on to that exercise today. We're gonna try the jackknife. Doesn't work for everyone, so you can always go back to that hip lift. We're gonna do it supported at first. So I'm gonna inhale, lift, and I'm gonna put my hands under my hips so that I can stretch up. I'm trying to take the roundness out of this part of my back by extending my legs straight above me. This is a lot if you have high blood pressure, detached retina, thyroid disease, osteoporosis, vertigo, or pregnancy, so don't do it. Then you're going to hinge the hips, and keeping that hinge, you're going to roll down a vertebra at a time with control, just to that L shape. So that's your jackknife. Doesn't work for everyone. So here we go. Hip lifts. Inhale, lift, hold, exhale down. Inhale, lift, hold, exhale down. You're going to stay with that. If your booty doesn't go up over your head, or if jackknives are bad for you because you have any of those 6 things, or if it just doesn't work for you. Otherwise, without the support, you inhale, lift, stretch to the sky, hinge, inhale down a vertebra at a time. Sorry, that was exhale. Here we go again. Inhale, lift, exhale, extend, inhale, hinge, exhale with control, come down. See, again, you have lots of options here. Do whatever one makes sense for you, please. And then wherever you are, next time you finish the next one, let's hug those knees in and take a quick little break. And then we'll extend both legs up again, and we're going to do our scissors. So we're going to reach for that right leg. We're going to bring that leg in as we bend our elbows. We're going to exhale, pulse, pulse, inhale, switch. Keep going. Beautiful. Bend the left knee, keep the right toes pointed in the sky, fingertips to your hips, leg circles. Inhale, start a circle, exhale, finish it. Reverse, inhale, start your circle, exhale, finish. Remember, leg circles are about stability in your abs so that that leg can move freely in the hip socket without your hips wobbling. If you want, if you feel confident, make bigger circles. If you have the flexibility, straighten out that left leg, put it on the ground. But again, hips are quiet. Keep going, a couple more here. And then right foot on the ground, bend it, left leg up in the air, start your circles, inhaling, finish on the exhale, reverse. Inhale to start, exhale, finish. And once again, if you feel that you've got that stability, then go ahead and make the circles bigger. You can flex through the right heel and lay that on the ground. Beautiful. In that left knee, right leg is going to meet it. Walk your feet wider than your mat. Let your knees drop, right knee in, left leg open. Get a nice stretch on the front of that right hip flexor. We didn't mean to work it, but you might have a little bit then. Back through center, knees drop, right leg out, left knee in. And then we'll do the same to each side one more time. Right knee in, left leg open. And then left knee in, right leg open. While you're over there, as you bring your knees back through center, grab that right leg, hug it in, straighten out that left leg on the ground. And we're going to draw circles on the ceiling with that right knee. So leg circles that we just did, but this is meant to be a stretch. And go the other way. Good. Hug that right knee in nice and close. Try and get the rib and the thigh to touch. Reach down, grab the bottom of your right foot. Push that heel to the sky. So I'm pulling my toes down. I'm pulling my knee down into my right rib cage. And my pulling that that right heel towards the sky. And then straighten it if you can, still holding onto those toes. If not, you're going to move your hands down. And then we'll hug that knee in again, right arm to the side, hug the knee up to your chest and then over to the left for a really deep stretch, and then twist it over. While you're over there, tuck the left knee behind the right one, deeper, deeper twist. Then bring those legs back through center. Your legs should be crisscrossed, hug them in. Put your left foot on the ground, lift your hips up, move them slightly to the left, and now your knees drop to the right in that same twist. So my right leg is still on top. And then use that right elbow. Everything comes back through center, uncross. Left knee comes in, right leg stretches out, and we circle on the ceiling with that left knee a couple times in each direction. Then we're going to hug it into the rib. We're going to reach down, hands across those left toes. We're going to push the heel to the sky. So I'm pushing my thigh down into my ribs, and I'm pushing my heel towards the sky. Straighten out if you can. If you can, keep your hands there, otherwise move them. And then we bend that knee, we bring it in really close to our chest, left arm to the side. Let that knee come across slowly and then eventually twist. While you're over there, tuck your right knee behind the left. Now, even that just gives you a little bit more of that IT band stretch because the weight of that right leg pushes down on that left. And then use your right elbow to push on the ground, come back through center. Push your right foot on the ground, lift your hips up, move them to the right, and let the hips drop left, please. And then everything back through center, uncross. We're going to roll up and over onto our hands and knees, or however you want to get there. We'll do an undulating cat-cow. So hands forward, we come forward cow, we press that cat, or leprechaun if you want. And then we'll come up to all fours, press up to a high plank, and then hips back into a down dog. And then you decide what you want to do here. Pedal your feet out, nod your head yes and shake it no. And then wide stance, back to the beginning of class, we round and we extend, we bring it up. Top of the morning, happy St. Pat's later this week. And one more international trivia. Okay. Which of these, quote, Mexican foods isn't from Mexico? Burritos,